Now, let's study about the physiology, that how the alimentary canal and the associated glands work together and carry on the digestion process. So, as I told you that there are 5 steps which occur in sequence. So, the first step is the ingestion. So, what actually happens in ingestion? Ingestion simply means intake of food. That is, we are taking in food and we are eating it. So, when you take in food, you know that in mouth the teeth are present. So, the teeth are going to chew the food and the tongue will help in placing the food at right place, and we know that we have the salivary gland also present in mouth. So, the salivary gland is going to secrete salivary amylase. So, salivary amylase will help in converting the starch present in food into the maltose, right? So, the teeth help in the mastication, chewing, and the salivary amylase helps in converting the starch into maltose. So, this continues, and in the form of bolus, the food is swallowed. In the form of bolus, it is swallowed, and when it is swallowed, it goes into esophagus, and through esophagus, it reaches stomach. But it's not like that the food directly from the buccal cavity or the mouth is dropping directly into the stomach. There are special type of movements that take place in the food pipe, and those movements are called as peristaltic movements. So, it refers to rhythmic contraction and relaxation of muscular wall. Suppose if we have a wall like this, so the food is not going to move like that. Food is here and it's not directly coming to the stomach. Suppose it is coming to this part, it is going to contract and it is going to push the food to this part, and then rhythmic contraction and relaxation as shown, it is going down and it reaches the stomach. We know that in stomach the gastric juices are already secreted, and out of them the mucus is going to form the inner lining, HCl is going to provide the acidic medium, and pepsin is going to act on proteins and will start converting the proteins to peptones, and renin will help in coagulating the milk. So, the reaction continues and the food stays in stomach for 4 to 6 hours, and then the food passes to the first part of small intestine, that is duodenum. And the form in which the food passes from the stomach to the small intestine, that form is called as chyme. It is spelled as C-H-Y-M-E, that is chyme. So, in the form of chyme, it comes to the first part of small intestine, that is duodenum. Now, if you look at duodenum, you will see that a common duct opens in duodenum. And how this duct is formed? The common duct is formed by the combination of bile duct, that is coming from liver, and the pancreatic duct, which is coming from the pancreas. They both unite together, form a common duct, and as you can see that they open up into duodenum, right? The bile duct brings the bile juice, which helps in emulsifying the fats, that is the breaking the bigger droplet of fats into the smaller droplet, and the bicarbonate ions also come along. Now, the pancreatic juice is carried by the pancreatic duct, and we know that we have already discussed that trypsin will convert the peptones to peptides, the lipase will convert fat to fatty acid and glycerol, and pancreatic amylase will act on the leftover starch and will convert into maltose. But the pancreatic juices will not function in the acidic medium. They need the alkaline medium to show their function, and that is provided by the bicarbonate ions, which are coming along with the bile juice. I think you got it, that what is the function of bicarbonate ions. So, the reaction continues, the food passes from jejunum and then finally reaches the ileum. Now, in the last part of intestine, the intestinal juice is secreted. And we have already discussed that intestinal juice is actually a mixture of juices, and they are going to end up the digestion. They will convert all the carbohydrates, that is all the maltose, to glucose, all the proteins to amino acids, all the substances that are formed after digesting the proteins, carbohydrates and fats are the simplest substances. That is, maltose is changing into glucose. So glucose is the simplest form of carbohydrate, right? Similarly, protein is being changed into amino acid, and amino acid is the simplest form of the protein. Likewise, the fat is changed into the fatty acid and glycerol. So fatty acid and glycerol are the simplest product of the simplest form of the fat. Now we get these three forms and the digestion completes. So I think you got it. Now you know about the second step also, that is the digestion. Now the third step is absorption. Now this simpler substances are sent to all body cells. And how these simpler substances are transported? Obviously, they are transported by a circulating fluid, that is the blood. So through blood, it reaches to the all body cells. This is called as absorption. Fourth, we have assimilation. All the body cells, from this absorbed food, they produce energy. They break down it. That is, a catabolic reaction take place and it produces energy, and they utilize that energy wherever they require, right? So assimilation also takes place now. So assimilation is this. Now the last step is ejection. Now what happens in ingestion? So the undigested food which is left behind moves to large intestine, that is from the cecum colon, and while it is moving from cecum colon, all the water absorption takes place through it, and it is temporarily stored in a rectum where it converts into a semi-solid form that is called as feces, and then through anus it is egested out, that it is thrown out. And we have already discussed that anal movement is stimulated by the anal sphincters. Sphincters are helping the anus to open up or close. That means it is helping, sphincters are helping in the egestion of food. So this is how the digestive system works. So I think you got it, that how we are consuming the complex food, now what kind of changes are occurring in the body, and how the food is moving through the alimentary canal, and what kind of enzymes are secreted, and what happened to the undigested food, or how it is digested. This all is clear to you now. So this is all about the nutrition in human beings, in which we have discussed everything which is involved in the digestive system of man. Now let's study about the peptic ulcer. As I already told you that in stomach the gastric juices are secreted, in which the mucus lines the inner wall, HCl is secreted which provides the acidic medium, and in that acidic medium pepsin shows its function, right? But sometimes what happens that the acid secretion is quite high, and what does it do? It corrodes the mucus wall. As you can see that the acidity is high in this case and it is corroding the mucus wall. Now, when the mucus wall gets corroded, the acidic effect reaches to the stomach wall. Now, you know that acids are quite corrosive in nature. So, if they will reach the stomach wall, they will cause an inflammation sort of thing, and finally, the inflammation leads to the ulcers. So this is what is the peptic ulcer. So if somebody asks you about peptic ulcer, or if you get a question like this, you need to answer in a way that peptic ulcer results due to corroding of mucus wall due to excess secretion of HCl in stomach. Right. So this is what is peptic ulcer.